Gossip. What is gossip? The repeating of idle talk and rumors, especially about the private affairs of others. Rumor. General talk not based on definite knowledge. An unconfirmed report, story, or statement in general circulation. There is a quote that seems to be very true. Great minds talk about ideas. Average minds talk about events. Small minds talk about people. Just to demonstrate how small the brain of a gossiper or talebearer is, let's look at the following examples. I think we can all agree that the brain at the top of the chain is man. Man is the most self-aware, the most rational, and most moral of creatures. Man's brain is the top rung on the ladder. As we climb down that ladder, we get to the next sized brain. While there may be other animals with the same sized brain, for this example, we'll choose the monkey. As we climb down the ladder, and as the brain gets smaller, we come to one of the more mischievous creatures in nature, the squirrel. Yeah, they are pretty cute, but they can oftentimes be quite the nuisance. As we go a little further down, we find a creature that is probably the closest in nature to the gossipy talebearer, the nasty, disgusting sewer rat. Sewer rats are just like talebearers in the fact they love to play in the shit. Gossipers not only like to play in it, they like to talk shit as well. The next size down we'll look at is the snail, or slug. Many gossipers are slugs. They sit on their asses and do nothing productive. They would rather just sit around gossiping about others. As we saw earlier, the brain of a gossiper is too small to think on a higher plane and actually talk about events or ideas. All they know how to do is talk about people. And finally, we climb all the way down the ladder. As the brain becomes even smaller, we come to the lowest of creatures, the gossiper or talebearer. This small brain is incapable of thinking in normal, positive terms. Gossipers are often named Cheryl or Linda. These tiny-brained entities are actually proud of how much they gossip about people and are so mentally deficient that they actually brag about it. Yes, that's really something to be proud of. But with a brain so small, the occasional rational thought is extremely rare. Gossipers are the bane of society. In fact, even the Bible has a lot to say about gossipers and those who spread tales. Let's look at some verses that contain a lot of wisdom and warn against things such as tale-bearing. Leviticus 19, verse 16. You shall not go around as a tale-bearer among your people, nor shall you stand by while the life of your neighbor is in danger. I am the Lord. Here we see that in no uncertain terms, God commanded his people not to gossip. God is fully aware of how much damage such activities can cause. Proverbs 6, verses 16 through 19. These 6 things the Lord hates. In fact, 7 are detestable to him. Arrogant eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that plots wicked schemes, feet eager to run to evil, a lying witness who gives false testimony, and one who stirs up trouble among brothers. God puts tale-bearing and attempting to stir up strife and drama, one of the things he hates the worst. Proverbs 11, verse 13. A tale-bearer reveals secrets, but he who is of a faithful spirit conceals the matter. This is saying that you cannot trust a gossip. You don't ever dare tell them any of your secrets, because regardless of how adamantly they try to convince you that it will stay just between you and them, you can be assured it will not. They can't help themselves. They don't have the character nor the willpower to keep things a secret. If you know somebody is a gossip, do not ever tell them anything you want to keep secret. Psalm 15, 1 through 3. Who may worship in your sanctuary, Lord? Who may enter your presence on your holy hill? Those who lead blameless lives and do what is right, speaking the truth from sincere hearts. Those who refuse to gossip or harm their neighbors or speak evil of their friends. This doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, but it does mean that if we want to please God, there are certain actions we are to refrain from doing. Pretending to be a friend while talking behind someone's back are things we are to avoid. Proverbs 16:28. A troublemaker plants seeds of strife. Gossip separates the best of friends. Here the verse is equating being a troublemaker with a gossip who causes friends to be at odds. Some people are miserable and unhappy, and they hate to see anybody else happy. So their very being is often motivated by jealousy. It is so ingrained into their character that they don't even consciously do it. However, some know exactly what they're doing and gloat when they cause friends to separate, knowing they were the cause. Proverbs 18:8. A gossip's words are like choice food that goes down to one's innermost being. Another version uses the term tasty truffles rather than choice food. This is speaking of those who thrive on hearing gossip. They can't wait to hear the next juicy bit of gossip from a talebearer. It's like candy to them. Tasty truffles. They eat up the gossip like stuffing their face with bonbons. The more bonbons, the better. They live for these bonbons of gossip. Proverbs 26:20-21. Without wood, fire goes out. Without a gossip, conflict dies down. As charcoal for embers and wood for fire, so is a quarrelsome person for kindling strife. Gossip is like pouring a flammable liquid on a pile of kindling, lighting a match and setting it on fire. Conversely, a pile of wood lying there by itself isn't going to do anything. It needs a fuel source to ignite it. Also, you can throw a match on a pile of dirt and it will just flame out. But the talebearer, the troublemaker, is the source of the fire. Take away the gossip and spreading of tales, and no fire is ever started. 1 Timothy 5:13 speaks of those women who learn to be idle, and not only idle, wandering around from house to house, but also gossips and busybodies, saying what they ought not. Those of you who are close to my age remember Mrs. Kravitz on the show Bewitched. She was always looking out the window, sticking her nose into things she had no business being in. There are those who are simply busybodies, going from person to person, spreading rumors, and spend all of their energy on gossip. They make statements like, "My God, you're so clueless. So here is something for you. It is only a snippet of countless conversations I have about you from others. So who are your friends? Cheers from know-it-all." This is the perfect example of a talebearer with a brain the size of a pea or kernel of corn. They are actually proud of themselves, that they have been talking to numerous people about a person. In making statements like this, they are simply displaying their ungodly character, as well as a significant depletion of brain cells. These are pathetic, miserable people who have no life. They are also the type who will never put a picture on public display, of which we can easily guess the reason. Need I say more? Again, let me reiterate that which I stated in the beginning. Great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about events, and small, pathetic minds talk about people. Which category do you fall under?